I was making this video. The video was titled, "Why is Apple growing so fast in this very poor country?" Now that poor country is not a third world country, it's India.
Kanan, what's your view about how this trend is going forward?
People are not even joining the workforce and have an iPhone with them because it's a status symbol.
They're also happy taking that iPhone. They want to flash that iPhone. They don't want to be the loner in that college campus not having an iPhone. We have significant population which is actually earning much more than what we could have imagined, say, 10 years back.
The top 10% of Indian income earners just make 25,000 rupees a month. So how are we a rich country?
Kanan, you were on the show, and in the episode you spoke about you were very clear that you're anti-loan. You're someone, and Aditya also echoed similar sentiments. But in your view, you're probably the one of, I don't know whether in your social circle, friends, family, colleagues, or whatever it is that you do, what do you see among people who are actually taking all these loans? Because the fact that this has become so widespread, I'm sure that you know a lot of people who have taken this. Aditya, I'm sure you do also. So from your perspective, being someone who's very steadfast in saying that you should always use your own money to buy something, what's your view about how this trend is going forward?
See, if we have to classify loans, we can either classify it as a good loan or a bad loan. I think good loan, all of us know that it helps you appreciate, helps your underlying asset appreciate in value and all of those things. But a bad loan is where you're preponing consumption. That's where I see the problem lies, right? And if you're preponing consumption by taking a loan at 10, 12, 15, 16% IRR, that's where my problem is, that this should not be done.
Karan, can I add something here to preponing consumption? So there's this statistic. I was making this video. The video was titled, "Why is Apple growing so fast in this very poor country?" Now that poor country is not a third world country, it's India. So the statistic was Apple's growth rate for iPhones is about 7%. And now Apple is like trying to figure out ways to make more money through services and other places. But like, how do you get people to buy services? You have to first get them into the ecosystem via iPhones. But what is the growth rate for iPhones in India? Tim Cook said on an analyst call that it was in the high double digits. And this data was also released by Apple in the first quarter of 2024. That 70% of all the phones that they sold were on EMI. When I bought my iPhone, right? Like I bought this back in 2022. So out of curiosity, I asked the person, what percentage of people pay for their iPhones in full? So he was, and this was during launch. So they had sold probably more than 50, 60 phones on that day. He's like, you're the first one. And this is at like 8 p.m. when the shop was about to close. So preponing consumption, and Apple has always been viewed as a status symbol in India, right? So preponing consumption, especially in the favor of pursuing status symbols, is also like extremely alarming in my opinion. That is also why I am anti-law.
Kanan, you want to finish your point and we'll move forward?
Yeah, so I see youngsters who just join colleges buying iPhones on EMIs, right? When I bought an iPhone, it was just 2 to 3 days of my income, right? And I made a post about it on Twitter and LinkedIn saying that I finally thought that I could deserve an iPhone. Of course, I didn't tell them that it's my 2 to 3 days of income. People were saying like, क्या तू चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट 5 साल बाद बनने के बाद बोल रहा है कि आईफोन ले रहा है, वहां लोग करोड़ों रुपए कमा रहे हैं. अब मतलब see, it's a statement that it's so easily accessible that you just can't say that you worked so hard for it that it doesn't matter to you. So I'm the kind of person who postpones consumptions to that extent where it doesn't matter expending, right? But that is changing very fast today. People are not even joining the workforce and have an iPhone with them because it's a status symbol. That's where the problem lies.
Just give me an under the hood look out here, okay? Because Kanan made a point from a consumer perspective, but what's happening in the industry, right? Because this entire thing is a nice triumvirate. It's an agreement between the person who's giving the money, giving the funds on loan. It's between the dealer, retailer, platform, whichever, and it's between the OEM that manufactures this thing. So what has changed out there? That is, that's driving this boom.
See, I think India is not a poor country now. We are like 4th largest economy.
No, it's not a poor country, but the inequality is,
of course,
inequality is
I
staggering.
understand. Yeah, so I'm saying like from that perspective.
So
the
top 10% of Indian income earners just make 25,000 rupees a month. So how are we a rich country? Like when you take out the Ambani family, Adani family, then the Tatas, Birlas, then what do you have left? So in terms of inequalities and the gap, I'd say we're a very poor country.
No, I understand that
What he
part.
meant was an absolute size, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah. And so every manufacturer is seeing India as a huge market because we have such a large young population, which is also earning well. I think when we are looking at debt, the increase in debt also has to be looked at in terms of increasing income levels. We have significant population which is actually earning much more than what we could have imagined, say, 10 years back, right? A 25-year-old today, what they can earn potentially, not just with degrees, but with different kind of skills, but different kind of passive and active incomes, is vastly different from what we could have imagined earlier. And then your aspirations also come in, and which is fair, right? And then your debt also kind of gets placed there. So when we're looking at this, that element is also visible to manufacturers. They want the mid to higher ticket size products to be sold more. And maybe if I can afford something which is at this price, by getting it on EMI, I can actually get to the next bracket. If the EMI is more conducive, I can actually go to the next bracket. Right? And gradually my consumption, which I would have never imagined earlier, I can take that extra leap, right? Which is possible. And like Aparna was saying, if it becomes irresponsible, that is when it is a threat. If it is within your limits, you are taking a calculated understanding of that, okay, I can go for this extra 10,000 or extra 20,000 because I'm getting this on EMI and my cost is not really getting impacted or my overall financials are not getting impacted. I can go to that level. And every lender is making money on this. Every manufacturer is making money on this. And largely, if you look at it from customers' point of view, they're also happy. Like, I think the millennials that Karan talked about, they're also happy taking that iPhone. They want to flash that iPhone. They don't want to be the loner in that college campus not having an iPhone in their pockets.